everybody. I'm Harry Thibodeau, and I welcome you to the Kourou Guiana Space Center, where tonight we're set to launch the third Ariane 5 of 2017. My comments are also being translated into French. Before we get set to go, let's hear from Stéphane Israel, CEO of Arianespace.
Ladies and gentlemen, Arianespace is delighted to welcome you from the CSG for this new Ariane 5 mission, which is the third of the year with our heavyweight vehicle. In a few minutes, we are going to launch two key satellites for our customers and partners. ViaSat-2 for the American operator ViaSat. The satellite has been manufactured by our long-standing partner Boeing. EUTELSAT 172B for the European operator EUTELSAT. The all-electric spacecraft has been built by Airbus, another close partner of Arianespace. So I wish to thank ViaSat and EUTELSAT for their trust. As you can see on the control screen behind me, Ariane 5 is on the launch pad after having been transferred yesterday. All the operations linked to the final countdown went well. So we should be in a position to launch at 8:45 p.m., the time of the opening of the launch window, which will last 1 hour. The overall performance to GTO required for this launch is 10 tons and 865 kilo, which should be another record for Ariane 5. As you know, the liftoff occurs 7 seconds after the H0 with the initiation of the boosters. Ariane 5 will then head towards the east to separate the satellites on an elliptical orbit inclined at 6 degrees with respect to the equatorial plane. The perigee altitude will be 250 kilometers and the apogee altitude will be 35,706 kilometers. ViaSat-2 will separate first 29 minutes and 26 seconds after liftoff. Then EUTELSAT 172B will separate 12 minutes and 21 seconds later. Our launch is now just a few minutes away. So go Ariane 5, go ViaSat-2 and EUTELSAT 172B, and of course, enjoy the show. Thank you.
And there is the star of tonight's broadcast, the Ariane 5 ECA. She stands nearly 55 meters tall, tips the scales at 780 tons. You also see the green status panels highlighting all of the key activities and monitor that we monitor here. All is green right now, and green means go. The Ariane 5 has 2 solid rocket boosters, each 31 meters tall. When they ignite, the Ariane 5 will roar from the pad. They burn for just over 2 minutes, providing the raw power to get us in the sky. Tonight we're using a 17-meter fairing. It is covering ViaSat-2 in the upper position and EUTELSAT 172B.
ViaSat contracted the launch of ViaSat-2 with Arianespace a year ago. This spacecraft is unique by many features, so the launch services had to live up to our customers' expectations. Mission analysis was initiated in March last year. The main objective was to consolidate the mission profile for one of the heaviest spacecraft launched in upper position on Ariane 5. A target for launcher performance was set in June 2016. A work plan was laid out to reach the performance by January 2017. In parallel, Ariane 5 improvement plan was ongoing. Some technical upgrades were consolidated, others were delayed, priority being a safe launch. In the end, ViaSat was offered adequate performance to be paired with one of the heaviest spacecraft in lower position on Ariane 5, EUTELSAT 172B. Upon selection of this co-passenger late last year, the dual mission preparation was carried out and the final review held in February. After an eventful launch campaign, ViaSat and Boeing completed their preparation mid-May and are now ready to set a new Ariane 5 performance record.
We're back at Jupiter now. All remains green for the launch. Here's the VA237 Program Director's desk for this evening. We see the Program Director for ViaSat-2 from Arianespace, also the Program Director for ViaSat, ViaSat-2, and also Bertice Romero, Program Director for EUTELSAT 172B, and Christopher Duchesne, who is EUTELSAT 172B Program Manager.
Welcome to the Guiana Space Center. The Ariane 5 flight VA237 will embark in its lower position EUTELSAT 172B, which will be the 32nd satellite launched by Arianespace for the telecommunications operator EUTELSAT. This figure reflects the long-standing partnership of EUTELSAT and Arianespace, which started in 1983 with the launch of EUTELSAT 1F1, and currently more than half of the EUTELSAT satellites have been orbited by Arianespace. EUTELSAT 172B is based on the new all-electric platform of Airbus Defence and Space in Toulouse, the Eurostar 3000 EOR. It is the first all-electric telecommunications satellite built in Europe, and also the first of this kind to be launched by the Ariane 5 VCA vehicle. Arianespace is proud of participating on this European project, and we would like to thank EUTELSAT for having put its confidence on us once more for the launch of this satellite. Personally, this is my 5th launch campaign with EUTELSAT, and I have always enjoyed it. So I do look forward to seeing you soon for the next launch campaign.
And returning to Jupiter, great view of the rocket this evening. And we'll also be looking at the flight directorate. There's Stéphane Israel, CEO of Arianespace, and Roland Lagier, the Senior Vice President of Engineering for Arianespace. They have the primary responsibility for tonight's mission. Tonight's the first time that Fleur Lefebvre serves as DDO. She's going to call out the 7-minute mark.
Top H0-7 minutes.
And there it is. We've entered the synchronized sequence. Things happen pretty fast right now. Computers are assuming more and more control over the mission, making final checks and settings for the launch. Tonight is the culmination of a month of nonstop work at CSG. Let's see how we got here.
La mission Ariane 5
The VA237 flight will launch 2 telecom spacecraft. ViaSat-2 will be in the upper position, EUTELSAT 172 in the lower.
The launch campaign is carried out as follows. First of all, we have mechanical integration with the assembly of different stages. Then, various functional controls of fluid, electrical, and avionics subsystems are carried out from the control bench. And at least, an overall synthesis control of the launcher is done.
The lower payload EUTELSAT 172B arrived at Félix Éboué Airport on the 27th of April and was transferred to the S5 payload facilities. Mechanical and electrical checks started on the 28th of April with the mechanical fit check. EUTELSAT 172B was transferred to the fueling facilities on the 11th of May. The spacecraft was fueled without anomalies between the 13th and the 17th of May. The launch campaign really started for ViaSat-2 on the 9th of May, with 1 week of standalone activities followed by the mechanical fit check. ViaSat-2's propellant filling operations went on between the 11th and the 15th of May without anomalies. Combined operations with the launch vehicle started for ViaSat-2 on the 17th of May with its flight mating onto the payload adapter. ViaSat-2 was then transferred to the BAF building on the 18th, hoisted onto the cylinder on the 19th, and encapsulated under the fairing on the 20th of May. For EUTELSAT 172B, combined operations with the launch vehicle started on the 19th of May with its flight mating onto the payload adapter. After transfer to the BAF on the 20th, it was hoisted onto the launcher on the 22nd and encapsulated under the cylinder and fairing on the 23rd of May.
Suite à la répétition générale.
After the dress rehearsal, with the launcher, the two satellites and the range, we are then ready to enter the launch timeline, which takes place over 2 days. The first day is devoted to launcher transfer on its table to the launch pad, followed in the evening by filling the liquid helium sphere on the main stage. On D0, the final countdown follows by the synchronized sequence.
Suivi de la séquence synchronisée.
And 4 minutes to go till launch. We see another great shot of the Ariane 5. Everything still remains green for tonight. Total payload, as you heard, 10.8 metric tons, a new record for the Ariane 5 ECA, 10,865 kilograms to be exact, 10 metric tons made up of our 2 satellites, ViaSat-2 and EUTELSAT 172B. The rest are support structures, including the Silda, covering EUTELSAT 172B and serving as the base for ViaSat-2. Looking now at highly skilled engineers who work at a building called CDL-3. It's located very close to the launch pad. I've been there a couple of times. It's really a bunker with walls and roof several feet thick. In the event of an emergency, you can seal it off from the outside world. 4 groups of people work there. The launch operations team, the Ariane production team, program production team, the quality management team, and the safety team for tonight's launch. And they are monitoring all of the technical aspects of the launcher and the payload. And tonight, they're responsible for launching the 558th and 559th satellites to be carried into space by the Ariane family of rockets. Another great view of the Ariane 5 ECA. You see it's been raining a bit today, but no problem there. We can launch in the rain, and it does rain here in Kourou. Just over 2 minutes from now, the Ariane 5 will roar to life, turn night into day here in Kourou, and send ViaSat-2 and EUTELSAT 172B into space. You see those yellow arms around the rocket? We call them the bra down here in Kourou. They're not holding the rocket up. That's gravity. But what they're doing is supporting the fueling cables. And here in Kourou, that fuel is very cold, and it's very hot in the Amazon jungle, so it boils off. We have to keep topping the tanks off till the last moment, and then they'll pull away from the rocket. Well, we're closing in on the last seconds of the countdown. The VIPs here at Jupiter are heading out to the balcony to witness the launch. We have another group of VIPs from ViaSat and from Boeing, and they're out at
À tous de DDO, attention pour moins 1 minute. Top, H0 moins 1 minute.
And there is the announcement of the 1 minute mark. I was saying those VIPs are out at Toucan, about 5 kilometers from the launch pad. They are going to see, hear, and you better believe they are going to feel that rocket when it goes off the pad 40 seconds from right now. Special greetings to those watching at ViaSat locations around the world. EUTELSAT has employees all around the globe. We welcome them. Airbus Defence and Space, and all the other industry partners in Europe. Okay, here it is, what we've been waiting for, the countdown in French.
À tous de DDO, attention pour le décompte final. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, top. Allumage Vulcain. Allumage des 2 EAP et décollage Ariane 237. Tous les paramètres à bord sont normaux. propulsion est nominale. Tous les paramètres à bord sont normaux.
Well, no doubt about it. Night has turned to day, and the rumble in the Amazon jungle is that mighty Ariane 5 VCA. She's roaring out over Devil's Island. Take a look at that picture right now. 1 minute into flight coming up, and the Ariane 5 has already broken the sound barrier here in Kourou, the massive Jupiter facility that I'm at. We're going to start feeling it and hearing it, and here it is right now. I can begin to feel it. The massive Jupiter facility literally shaking as 1,300 tons of thrust breaks the Ariane 5 free from the bounds of Earth's gravity. 90% of that power is coming from the two boosters, burning 240 tons of solid propellant in 2 minutes, better than 2 tons a second. When the boosters have done their job, less than a minute from now, Ariane will be over 70 kilometers in the sky, racing away from us more than 1.6 kilometers a second. And that's faster than a speeding bullet. Information coming to us now from Guiana, the
pilotage est calme, la trajectoire est nominale.
Right behind us here in Jupiter. The next major event, the burnout and the jettison of those two solid rocket boosters. That will happen at 2 minutes and 20 seconds into the flight. So about 10 more seconds.
La propulsion est nominale.
Give us the horsepower, and then they will extinguish and fall away.
Séparation des deux EAP.
And there you hear it from the
Trajectoire nominale.
The boosters have done their job. We don't need them anymore. On the pad, the Ariane 5 weighed 780 tons. By the way, look at the pictures from a previous flight of the boosters falling away. We're down now to
La propulsion est nominale. Les paramètres à bord sont normaux.
That is Weight Watchers if you've ever seen it. In the rocket business, when you get lighter, you go faster. And Ariane is now really moving on out about 91 kilometers into the sky.
La trajectoire est nominale.
Watch the speed number. 9.3 is our target number. Next up, the jettison of the fairing. It's covered the satellites on the ground and protected us from friction in the early part
Le pilotage est calme, la propulsion est nominale.
And we don't need it anymore. It is going to be separating in a couple of seconds. Aha.
Séparation coiffe, trajectoire nominale.
Hear the DDO say separation coiffe. The fairing falls away. There you see the great photos from a previous flight. We just lost another 2 tons. And with the fairing gone, ViaSat-2 is exposed to space for the first time. While the launcher is technically in space,
La propulsion est nominale.
a long way to go. I call your attention to the performance numbers on the screen, and you'll see that graph in the upper right-hand corner. The desired flight plan for Ariane 5, you'll see a dot moving along that line. We want that dot and that line
Les paramètres à bord
to
sont normaux.
overlap each other perfectly. That means that our performance is nominal, and you'll keep hearing the DDO call out performance is nominal. The main cryogenic stage, or EPC, is burning. It'll burn for 9 minutes. The heavy lifting being done by the mighty Vulcan engine,
Le pilotage
gulping
est
down
calme.
320 kilograms, about 700 pounds of fuel a second. That's 500 times more than a jet engine that you probably flew down here to Kourou on if you're here in the audience. You look at the images again right now, they are animated images.
La trajectoire est nominale.
We have the first stage, and then you have the Silda, the black covering that is over the top of EUTELSAT 172B.
Propulsion est nominale.
And then ViaSat-2 on the tip of the sword as it makes its way on out toward orbit. You see again Galiot, the space tracking station that we have here in the local area. We're going to use 5 of those.
Tous les paramètres à bord sont normaux.
We'll tell you more about those later. 537, you just heard the DDO say that performance is normal, and normal is good here at Kourou.
La propulsion est nominale.
Replays coming up in a moment. I could sit and watch replays of the Ariane launches all night
Il reste
long.
3 minutes de propulsion de l'étage à propulsion cryogénique.
Look at that raw power when those solid rocket boosters fired off. And once they do, the Ariane 5 is committed. It's going off that launch pad. 6:20 into the flight now. And the number one question I get from people is when I tell them, hey, I'm going to French Guiana for a rocket launch, they scratch their head. They say, why French Guiana? Well, the Kourou Space Base is about 300 miles north of the equator. And the Earth rotates faster here than it does, say, at Guiana Space Center. Thus, the Ariane 5 gets a huge boost from the Earth's rotation, allowing satellite operators to launch heavier payloads, add more fuel to their birds, increase operational life, meaning more revenue.
Il reste 2 minutes de propulsion de l'étage à propulsion cryogénique.
It pays more to, it pays off rather, to launch with Arianespace.
La trajectoire est nominale.
That's the bottom line. As we approach the 744 mark, that will be the next key thing to watch for. The Ariane 5 will be picked up by our tracking stations in Natal, Brazil. Tonight we're using 5 tracking stations. I told you about Galat that is here. Natal in Brazil. Then out in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean is Ascension Island. We use that tonight. Libreville, Gabon, on the west coast of Africa. And
Acquisition de la télémesure lanceur par la station de Natal au Brésil.
And again, what happens is Ariane sends data to those ground stations, and that gives us the flight data in real time on how it's progressing. Later, engineers are going to pore over every single bit of that data to determine exactly how the vehicle performed every split second of its climb away from Kourou. And when we near 8:40, that's just a few seconds away, it'll be the cutoff for the main stage or the EPC.
La propulsion est toujours nominale.
You hear some of the calls from the DDO, and you're going to begin to see the flame on the end of the EPC begin to flicker.
Fin de propulsion de l'étage à propulsion cryogénique.
And
Séparation de l'EPC.
but it's separated, and the upper stage has fired.
Allumage de l'étage supérieur cryogénique. Trajectoire nominale.
And everything is nominal, and that means the main stage has done its job. Great pictures from a previous mission of it falling away. It drops into the ocean off Africa. The upper stage will burn for about 16 minutes. We're going pretty fast
La propulsion
now.
est
The Ariane
nominale.
5 is well on its way toward Africa. It's gaining speed by the second, and we again see some of the key personnel and VIPs here at the Jupiter Auditorium, located right below us. Most of the VIPs got here yesterday. They've been touring the base.
La trajectoire est
and the
nominale.
local area, and now they have the best seat in the house to enjoy tonight's launch. Another group of VIPs, like we say, from Boeing and ViaSat, are out at Tucson. That's an outdoor viewing site, and that's why you may not see quite as many people here at Jupiter as normal. And history is being made tonight. ViaSat-2 is the most powerful satellite ever launched with 300 gigabits.
Tous les paramètres à
of
bord sont
throughput,
normaux.
more than double the capacity of ViaSat-1, which previously held the title in the Guinness Book of World Records. ViaSat-2 represents the cutting edge of so-called high-throughput satellite technology, combining extremely powerful Ka-band satellite payloads with ground segment. Let's hear more about ViaSat-2.
Le pilotage est calme, la trajectoire est nominale.
I'm thinking of the incredible breakthrough which has been made possible by developments in communications and, above all, the communications satellite. These things will make possible a world in which we can be in instant contact with each other wherever we may be.
The times I really like are when you're just at the beginning of some trend or capability that you know is going to run for a long time. And launching ViaSat-2 is the next big step in that journey.
ViaSat-2 makes big improvements over ViaSat-1 in both capacity and coverage.
It'll have double the capacity of ViaSat-1, which was already 10 to 20 times what had come before.
The thing that we've done that matters the most is this advanced satellite designs.
The key is what you put in space. You just have to put lots and lots of bandwidth up in space.
ViaSat-2 brings flexibility, and it magnifies what we can do from a service perspective.
We're going to continue to improve the satellite's bandwidth economics as we go forward. People's data needs are going to continue to grow over time. This mission that we're on, which is really connecting people, it's not just covering a lot of area, it's putting data where the people are.
The world wants faster connectivity, faster internet, more connectivity, so that's the way we're going to compete.
What separates us from the rest is we have the ability to provide a lot more capacity at a lower cost than the others do.
The demand for a satellite internet service that feels truly unlimited is huge.
ViaSat-2 will expand into all of North America, Central America, even down into the tip of South America, as well as the Caribbean and the North Atlantic Bridge.
It's got a much larger coverage area. It's going to be fantastic for our mobile airline business, because there's a lot of capacity over oceans where airlines fly.
There are 7 billion people, and 3 to 4 billion people have no broadband internet connectivity.
It's really exciting to know that we will enable an unimaginable amount of good worldwide.
I think we're going to be a global communications company that helps people in education, in healthcare, and in entertainment and social reach.
It's really just going to open up, more opportunities to get the economics to the point where people all over the world can stream and experience the internet while on the plane or on a cruise ship or wherever they might be.
I think everybody's going to want the internet when they're in the air that they get on the ground. Right now, we're the only people in the world that can provide that.
Our motto was providing practical solutions to difficult communications problems. We still do it today, and we're going to continue to do it.
We are disrupting ourselves before anyone else can disrupt us.
We were the first true broadband company for the entire United States, and we're on a path to becoming the first broadband company for the entire world.
We have changed literally how people think about satellite communications.
ViaSat never seems to be afraid of doing what's never done before. It always just seems like the spark that kind of keeps us going.
Every time somebody said we couldn't do something, we studied those markets, understood new technologies, made those evolutions, and I don't think there's anything we can't do.
We can see a path to getting a big competitive advantage, providing a service that's really valuable. It's pretty rare to be able to find all that combination of stuff and see that it could go for 10 years. That's really exciting.
The only thing we can be sure of about the future is that it will be absolutely fantastic.
And we're back at Jupiter. We're nearing 15
Trajectoire est nominale, le pilotage est calme.
And during the film, we were acquired by the Ascension Islands. All's going well with the upper stage of the Ariane 5 VCA. Here's a few more fun facts about ViaSat-2. It's the first satellite in the ViaSat fleet that has dynamic bandwidth allocation. That will allow the capacity to be moved to meet market demand. Also means no more trapped capacity on a satellite.
La propulsion de
When
l'ESC
deployed,
est
the
nominale.
solar arrays will span 158 feet, the same as a Boeing 767 jet. Weighs over 6,400 kilograms, same as 4.5 Toyota Camrys. It took 40 months to design and build. There's 23 miles worth of electrical cables on that satellite. ViaSat-2 utilizes hybrid propulsion. Traditional chemical boosters will do the heavy lifting initially, right? The orbit raising operations. Then highly efficient xenon electrical thrusters will do the rest of the work. At 16-18 into the mission, everything continues
Tous les
to go
paramètres à
well.
bord sont normaux, la
Let's hear
trajectoire est
more
nominale.
about ViaSat-2.
Well, working with Arianespace has been very enjoyable, very professional relationship. It worked well with Viasat and Boeing, one team with a common goal. Really appreciate the stable and mature processes of the experienced launch teams, and the emphasis on quality is evident in everything: analyses, reports, hardware, services. Any issues that have arisen have been promptly addressed and resolved, and we're looking forward to a successful launch here and future launches with Arianespace, including one of the Viasat 3s. Not just a supplier, but a real partner in this. Following separation, we'll acquire the satellite within about 25 minutes through a ground station in Hassan, India. The next few days will be spent in low Earth orbit performing basic health checks, configuring the spacecraft for orbital operations, performing ranging so we can refine our orbit raising plan. ViaSat-2 has a hybrid propulsion system using both chemical and electric propulsion. The chemical phase comes first and will take about 2 weeks. Following that, we'll deploy our solar arrays and begin electric orbit raising, which will take a few months. Following our arrival at geostationary orbit, we'll deploy reflectors and radiator panels and perform an orbit test, which will lead to a handover late this year and then entry into service.
And we're back at Jupiter, and all is well. Key officials from EUTELSAT and Airbus
Le pilotage est calme, la trajectoire est nominale.
worked for many years on EUTELSAT 172B. Riding in the lower position tonight, it's the first high-power, all-electric satellite to be built in Europe, launched by Arianespace. It'll be positioned over the Asia-Pacific region, with vast looking angles sweeping from Alaska
Acquisition de la
down to New
télémesure
Caledonia.
lanceur par la
And it
station
will
de
be
Libreville au Gabon.
EUTELSAT's new workhorse for markets that include maritime connectivity, government, video, and data services.
La
One of the
trajectoire est
most
nominale.
exciting features, high-throughput payload with 11 elliptical beams used for in-flight service, connectivity over some of the world's busiest flight paths. EUTELSAT, marking 40 years in business, began as a regional satellite system for Europe. It's grown into one of the largest satellite operators in the world. 39 satellites circling the Earth. Also has 4 more on order to launch.
Le pilotage est calme, la trajectoire est nominale.
At this time, EUTELSAT has a cumulative 500 years of on-orbit experience. And ViaSat and EUTELSAT are not just sharing a rocket tonight. They've been strong business partners for about 10 years. Time now to hear about EUTELSAT 172B. It's quite a satellite, and as I mentioned, it's an all-electric satellite built by Airbus.
Le pilotage est
And
calme,
on
la
top of that,
trajectoire est nominale.
they like to call it compact, savvy, and smart. For example, because of electronic propulsion, it weighs just 3,500 kilograms, saving almost 2 metric tons. But that's not all. As you'll see in a moment, this satellite incorporates cutting-edge technologies, components made on 3D printers, multi-port amplifiers to dynamically allocate bandwidth across spot beams, and the first of their kind robotic arms that will precisely orient the electronic thrusters to maximize efficiency. It is truly a cutting-edge satellite. And it's time now to hear more about EUTELSAT 172B.
De l'étage ESC. reste 1 minute de propulsion de l'étage ESC.
And there you hear another announcement from the DDO. The upper stage of the Ariane 5 is nearing the end of its 16 minutes of work, and it is a real workhorse. We're looking tonight at 9.3 kilometers per second for the magic number. And you know, when you look at that speed, it's virtually impossible to imagine. But consider this. Fastest man on Earth is Usain Bolt. He runs about 10 meters a second. The fastest car, a Ferrari, 100 meters a second. A bullet, about 1,000 meters a second. Ariane 5, over 9 times the speed of a bullet. That's faster than Superman. The work of the upper stage is almost over. Again, 25-24. You see it has just gone out.
Extinction de l'étage supérieur cryogénique.
And there's the announcement from the DDO. And the ESC has completed the propulsion stage of the mission. You
Début de la phase d'orientation au profit de la charge utile haute, ViaSat-2.
That we've reached the point we need to speed-wise. Events happen really rapidly now. We've entered the ballistic stage. The engineers here call it the SCAR phase, but for us normal folks, let's call it the space ballet. The powerful computers aboard the Ariane 5 are now making the calculations to align the vehicle precisely for the next step. And let's assess where we're at. We're high enough, we're going fast enough. The boosters and the 2 stages of the Ariane 5 have done their job. The need for raw power is over. Now it's about pinpoint precision. This is when those pocket protectors and slide rules really come into play. This is the real science in rocket science kicking in. And it's what we call guidance, navigation, and control. This is one of the primary subsystems on the launcher. The first step is to orient the launcher for the release of ViaSat-2.
Fin de la phase d'orientation au profit de ViaSat-2.
On the side of the composite, and it is going to exactly position that composite, and we mean exactly, and years worth of work by the folks at
Tous les paramètres à bord sont normaux.
Are now down to, let's see, 2 minutes. 29:24 is the magic number. So look and watch for that number. 29 minutes, 24 seconds into the mission. And at that point, a set of springs will jettison or release ViaSat-2 from the top of the cylinder and the composite. And again, you know, I've heard this described as almost like having a baby. And I missed fatherhood, okay? I didn't get married till I was late in life. But some of these people who worked on these programs for EUTELSAT, for ViaSat, and I've been here many times for these missions, they almost cry when they see it happen because they have put years and years of work into making this thing happen. And it comes down literally to the next minute before this satellite is separated, and then a few more minutes for our friends at EUTELSAT 172B. Excuse me. And we'll watch closely. You see it's following the curve perfectly. And we're now down to about 25 seconds as the first part of the space ballet is nearing its completion. We will await the word from the DDO, and I'll shut up for a moment.
Séparation ViaSat-2.
And there it is. And again, most all of the ViaSat and Boeing people are out at Toucan. They're not here. I'm sure there's a lot of smiles out there. But the tradition at Kourou is to hold the real applause until both satellites have been separated. The Ariane family of launchers now has delivered 558 satellites into orbit. EUTELSAT 172B, which will have the honor of being number 559, is only 12 minutes now away from following ViaSat-2 into orbit. The next act of the space ballet is going to begin now. We need to turn the composite away from the direction that we sent ViaSat-2. Then we're going to prepare to jettison that cylinder. It's the black structure. It's like a small fairing. It's the secret sauce of the Ariane 5. It makes dual satellite launches possible. And it has protected EUTELSAT 172B It's provided the base upon which we mounted ViaSat-2. And we want to be sure to send it in a different direction than either of those two satellites. The precision of these steps can't be understated. Imagine again what's happening. We're at 8.5 kilometers a second. We are on the opposite side of the world. The composite and EUTELSAT 172 are racing away from us over Africa. And if you've ever seen the movie Gravity, you know that really bad things happen when the smallest piece of an object collides with satellites in space. So the Silda is no small piece. It's 5 meters tall. It weighs 500 kilograms. So Ariane is always sure to separate it safely. On the animation, you see it.
Séparation du Silda.
And the DDO confirms it. We have made the next critical step in the space ballet. And now, for the first time, that technological marvel of
Début de la manœuvre d'orientation au profit de EUTELSAT 172B
has seen the sun. But there's still more of the space ballet to go. And onboard computers are now calculating the exact course needed for dropping off EUTELSAT 172B.
This is the 8th program I've worked on for EUTELSAT on the 4th in Kourou. I'm delighted to make this video today as we complete almost 34 months of collaboration by EUTELSAT, Airbus Defence and Space, and Arianespace on the design, manufacturing, test, and preparation of this unique satellite. I take this opportunity to salute the enthusiasm and commitment of this European Dream Team. Many hundreds of people from our companies have delivered a highly sophisticated triple mission satellite that is still compact enough to fit into the lower position of an Ariane 5 rocket. EUTELSAT 172B is a flagship program for EUTELSAT. It reflects our ambition to innovate with customers and to ensure we are leveraging the best technologies to make satellites relevant for users. Huge work has been done to get where we are today. This is more to come with the launch, the orbit tracing, the in-orbit test, and of course many years of operation. 40 minutes after liftoff, EUTELSAT 172B will be separated from Ariane 5 upper stage, and my thoughts are with my colleagues on the Airbus team in Toulouse, who will take over for the electrical orbit tracing. Greetings to you all from Kourou. I'm sure you were impatient to get to work. It's a privilege to work in the space industry with people who are highly skilled and are passionate about what they do. This launch campaign was no exception and brought us to the best in all of us in terms of team spirit, trust, and relentless dedication. I'm proud to be part of this program and look forward, as I'm sure you all do, to seeing our satellite start its life in space in a few moments and its long and prosperous commercial life in a few months. To conclude, as EUTELSAT always said just before liftoff, go Ariane, go Airbus, go EUTELSAT 172B.
And go we are as we continue to move toward the monumental moment when we will release EUTELSAT 172B. That will happen at 41:45 into flight. 41:45 is the magic number for EUTELSAT 172B. And again, as we're back at Jupiter, that orbital ballet is continuing. The upper stage and EUTELSAT 172B being configured for the correct attitude. You know, as Stefan Israel mentioned in his opening comments, tonight the Ariane 5 ECA is setting another record for total payload. We're placing 10,865 kilograms into space. ViaSat-2, 6,418. EUTELSAT 172B tips the scales at 3,551 kilos. And the remainder made up of all the rest of the support structures and the Silda. And it's amazing to consider how big modern satellites are. On October 4th, we will celebrate the 60th anniversary of Sputnik, the first man-made satellite placed in orbit. It was 58 centimeters, a 24-inch ball. It weighed 83 kilograms, that's 184 pounds. All it could do was send out a beep, beep, beep tone, and it represented an amazing leap in technology. That little beep, beep, beep was the spark that ignited the space race and focused attention on satellite communications. It's fair to say that the beep, beep from Sputnik put us on the road to where we are tonight here in Kourou. Well, compared to Sputnik, either ViaSat-2 or EUTELSAT 172B would just be considered a giant. Even before unfolding its solar arrays, ViaSat-2 is 6 meters tall, 3 meters wide. Those panels, wingspan of a Boeing 767, 18.3 kilometers or kilowatts of power. EUTELSAT 172B, it's a little bit smaller, but it stands 3.7 meters tall. When folded up for flight, it still would loom over Sputnik, and when deployed, the solar panels 39 meters tip to tip, generating an incredible 13 kilowatts of power, even at the end of a 15-year lifespan. And you know, it has 14 C-band, 36 KU, and 11 high-throughput Ka-band transponders. Oh, and the last thing, consider the life of the satellites. Both of tonight's satellites will be operating 15 years from now. And Sputnik ran out of power and went silent 21 days after launch. It entered the atmosphere, burnt up January 4th, 1958. You know, we recall, I mentioned those 5 telemetry stations we're using. Well, here's an inside look at what we do with all the data that comes back from the Ariane 5. It arrives at the CVI, located inside the Galileo tracking station on a mountain just south of the launch base. A 4-person team called the Immediate Visual Control Team monitors 150 critical parameters in real time, out of more than about 1,000 that they actually get. The rest of that data stored on massive hard drives. It will be analyzed in the next week or two. And that will allow the engineers to know exactly how each system performed tonight. And remember, this really is rocket science, and engineers like to be real precise. That process of sharing technical and operational data with customers from day one, since the contract signing through the launch campaign and the post-flight analysis, is really a key part of Arianespace's commitment to absolute transparency. The customer and Arianespace are considered a team. From the beginning till the end, they work as one with a single goal: the safe, on-time, and on-target delivery of each customer's valuable payload into orbit. It's that commitment to the smallest of details that has played a major role in the success record of the Ariane family of launch vehicles. Tonight, the 79th success in a row for Ariane 5, as soon as EUTELSAT 172B moves on its way, making it the most reliable heavy launch vehicle in the commercial industry, and the only one that specializes in dual payload launches. And we're in the final stages of the space ballet. We're closing in on the deployment of EUTELSAT 172B. Again, watch the clock. The magic number, 41 minutes, 45 seconds. So we're talking about a minute and 10 seconds away from EUTELSAT 172B being successfully transferred into geostationary transfer orbit. Just as the tension was high for our friends at ViaSat, so it is with EUTELSAT, and seconds to go before we get that call again at 41:45. The final steps of the space ballet, making absolutely sure we're right on path before the springs lit. EUTELSAT 172B go, and when it does, something else will go, and that's the roof off this place, so the celebration that will take place as the 79th success in a row for Ariane 5 will happen.
Manœuvre d'orientation au profit d'EUTELSAT 172B.
We'll let you listen. There's the animation.
Séparation EUTELSAT 172B.
And it's happened again at ViaSat and EUTELSAT success tonight. The Ariane 5 has delivered again and again and again, and 79 in a row tonight. One can only imagine the thrill being experienced by the officials from all the companies. You heard the cheer going up here, handshakes, and all around. You know, it's just become something that is almost become normal here, which is success. And it's all because of that teamwork that we talked about before. Years of hard work came down to the last hour, and their confidence placed in Arianespace and the Ariane 5 ECA has paid off. And again, while the celebration's in full swing here at Jupiter and at the Tucson viewing site, there still is one last step that has to happen in that space ballet. The engineers here at Jupiter have to oversee it. And remember, I told you the vehicle equipment bay we talked about and the rest of the upper composite? Well, we have to move that into yet one further direction. So it's pointed away from where we sent EUTELSAT 172B, ViaSat-2, and the Silda. When that's done, along with some last-minute technical adjustments, the VA237 mission will officially come to an end. And while we wait for the official speeches from several of the VIPs, you see the technicians are on the phone checking on the status of their satellites, and the other technicians around the world. We remind you that the work may be over here in Kourou, but it's only begun for the satellite operators. As you saw in the videos earlier, both ViaSat-2 and EUTELSAT 172B will need a few months to get from the geostationary transfer orbit, GTO, that we placed them in tonight, to their permanent homes at geostationary orbit. Basically 70 degrees west for ViaSat-2 and 172 degrees east for EUTELSAT. There it is again, just a matter of what, 45 minutes ago. The mighty Ariane 5 roaring off the pad. Here comes another replay. And again, we could watch those all night long as from different angles, it all looks incredible. You see some of the people from ViaSat on the phone checking on the status of their satellite. EUTELSAT doing the same thing. And the official speeches will actually occur after we have confirmed the health of both of the satellites. Again, 558 and 559, the count of satellites successfully placed into orbit by the Ariane family. And look at that picture as night turned into day here in the Amazon jungle. And it really is a rumble in the jungle when that baby takes off. When those solid rocket boosters ignite, we're going. And it is a real rumble that echoes across this place and then on out over Devil's Island. So again, 79 times in a row, the Ariane 5 has been successful. And again, we're just waiting for official confirmation. And the officials will be moving out of what we call the fishbowl here at Jupiter, and will be approaching the podium to make their comments. Here's another replay. And again, the engineers on the phone, just making sure everything's going well. Both EUTELSAT 172B and ViaSat. Look at this. This one must be from Jupiter, I assume. You know, I've been down here 12 times. This is the 12th time doing a launch, and I've never seen one because I'm inside doing the broadcast. But wow, that is incredible. See Ariane 5 roars into the sky. And again, here at Jupiter, where the VIPs went on the balcony, we're about 13 kilometers away from the launch pad. So it takes about a minute for the sound and the rumble to meet us here. Those people who were at Tucson tonight, they were only 5 kilometers away, and it didn't take long, I'm sure, for the sound and the sensation, the rumble, to hit them there. And again, you know, you see the smiles, and it goes back to what I said about all the years of hard work. You know, when you calculate the number of man hours, women hours, person hours, to build a satellite like EUTELSAT 172B, and all the cutting edge technology that went into that satellite. I dare say, you know, I've heard some of them have almost 1 million hours worth of total work that has been put in to construct one of these modern satellites. And the 2 that we launched tonight were cutting edge. I mean, these were not your garden variety satellites. And that's why they entrusted them to Arianespace. Here's Stéphane Israel.
Monsieur le Préfet, Mesdames et Messieurs, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests. Arianespace is delighted to announce that ViaSat-2 and EUTELSAT 172B have been separated as planned on the targeted geostationary transfer orbits. For the third time this year and the 79th time in a row, Ariane 5 performed flawlessly. Well done and congratulations to all. Tonight, Ariane 5 delivered for two major customers at the service of global connectivity. In the upper position, ViaSat-2 is the second satellite launched by Arianespace for the legacy operator ViaSat after Wild Blue 1 in 2006. I'd like to express my profound gratitude to ViaSat CEO Mark Denberg, who is with us tonight. Mark was in Toucan and is just about to arrive now in Jupiter. We have one more ViaSat satellite in our backlog, and we hope to seize new opportunities in the future with ViaSat. I would like also to congratulate our long-lasting partner, Boeing, who built ViaSat-2. With 54 Boeing satellites orbited since 1987 by Arianespace and 3 more in our backlog, we will certainly continue this successful path. So many thanks to Boeing for your trust, and more specifically to Mark Spivak. Mark is also at Toucan, and he was with us a few weeks ago for SES-15. He has just taken a few days home, and he came back to CSG with us. In lower position, EUTELSAT 172B is the 32nd satellite entrusted by EUTELSAT to Arianespace. We have 2 more geosatellites for EUTELSAT in our backlog. They are named Altair 2 and Altair 3. I am quite sure that they will have a more precise name quite soon, and I am very confident that some other satellites should come soon from EUTELSAT. So let me express my sincere gratitude to EUTELSAT, and more specifically to his CEO, Rodolphe Belmer, as well to his CTO and Deputy CEO, Johan Leroy, who is with us tonight, for your trust. Congratulations also to Airbus, who built EUTELSAT 172B based on the new all-electric Eurostar E3000 EOR platform, which has been supported by ESA and space agencies of European countries, in particularly in France by CNES, in the framework of the Programme d'investissement d'avenir. Nous avons ce soir avec nous un représentant du Commissariat général à l'investissement, Jean-Luc Moulet, et je veux remercier le Commissariat général à l'investissement et Jean-Luc Moulet pour leur soutien au programme spatial et aux satellites tout électriques. This launch brings the total to 180 Airbus satellites launched by Arianespace. 15 more Airbus satellites are currently in our backlog, not to mention the more than 600 OneWeb satellites. For this long-lasting partnership, I would like to express my gratitude to Dirk Oke and for sure to Nicolas Chamussy, who is with us tonight. Let me now emphasize that with this mission, we have just broken a new performance record with Ariane 5. Ariane 5 has delivered tonight 10 tons, 865 metric tons to a geostationary transfer orbit. It corresponds to an overall performance gain of more than 1.5 metric tons since the beginning of the Ariane 5 ECA program. With the support of ESA and CNES, and in partnership with our prime Airbus Safran launchers, activities are underway to further increase this performance step by step by about 250 kilos until the end of 2019 to always exceed the expectation of our customers. Ladies and gentlemen, this 6th successful flight of the year, the 3rd with Ariane 5, is also the first ever with a full electric satellite aboard. Arianespace demonstrates one more time the availability and versatility of its launch vehicle family for its customers. So I would like now to congratulate all our partners for this new success. For sure, ESA and all the member states of the Ariane program whose support is essential. Airbus Safran Launchers, now named Ariane Group, and Airbus Safran Launchers is, as you know, the prime of Ariane 5 and our first shareholder, the first shareholder of Arianespace. We have tonight with us in Jupiter Alain Charmeau. CNES, Ariane 5 Design Authority, and our daily partner here in CSG. Our contractors in French Guiana and all employees of the launch facility. And of course, I would like to pay my tribute to my Arianespace colleagues for the latest success of an Ariane vehicle. We are now halfway to our target of 12 launches in 2017. I'd now like to welcome to the stage our customers and partners, and we will begin with EUTELSAT. Thank you very much.
Oof. Good evening, everybody. So after a successful launch, feelings are always the same. Relief, happiness, and pride. Tonight I'm relieved, but I am 2 times happier and 3 times prouder than usual. Let me explain why. I am 2 times happier because it's not only a successful launch for EUTELSAT, it's also a successful launch for our partner, ViaSat. With ViaSat, we've been sharing for 10 years the conviction that thanks to satellite technology, we can improve connectivity everywhere in the world, including in planes. And we have decided to prove together in the next few years our ability to reduce sharply the digital divide in Europe. I am 3 times prouder because EUTELSAT 172B is a shining example of the best that Europe's industry can achieve together. It's much more than a EUTELSAT success. It is the success of 3 European companies who worked as a team, a true team, with Airbus, who delivered in a record time the first European and the world's most powerful all-electric satellite, and Arianespace, who illustrated tonight its ability with Ariane 5 to put efficiently and competitively very powerful electric propulsion satellites into orbit. We are also very proud to have customers with us here in Kourou, who, thanks to this success, will be using EUTELSAT 172B for government and video services, as well as in-flight and maritime connectivity in the Asia-Pacific region. From its prime location at 172 degrees east, it will bring improved coverage, power and flexibility to a vast and dynamic region from Australia up to Alaska. EUTELSAT 172B is the 32nd satellite launched by Arianespace for EUTELSAT in nearly as many years. There is a rule in space industry, as in sport: never change a winning team. So in accordance with this principle, I'm very happy that we signed today with you, Stéphane and Jacques, an agreement for 3 more Ariane 5 launches in the next 2 years. And I believe this puts us in the right conditions for our upcoming discussions on Ariane 6. I would like to thank all the teams who worked hard on this program over the past weeks, over the past months, and who made this success possible. Starting with Airbus teams, of course, led by Pierre-Yves Barra, the program manager, Laurent Ravelli, and Nicolas Bouge. The Ariane Group teams, I anticipate a little bit, in particular Roland Lagier, Jean-Christophe Delaunay, Benjamin Troublé, and Béatrice Romero. The CNES teams, in particular our DDO, Fleur Lefebvre, and of course EUTELSAT technical teams, in particular Christophe Duchesne, the program manager, Bertrand Montuis, and Olivier Tropin. Guys, you did an amazing job. I would like also to warmly thank 3 persons. Raphaël Mussalian, without whom I would not be here today, Arnaud de Ronet, and Edouard Pérez. They were the ones who were crazy enough to initiate this project. They decided to do it because, a little bit like Mark Twain, they did not know that it was impossible. Gentlemen, you are a source of inspiration for me and for the whole industry. Thomas Pesquet comes back to Earth tomorrow, And with a perfect timing, a French satellite has gone into space as a French astronaut returns from space. For Thomas, it is the end of his mission, but for EUTELSAT 172B, it's just the end of the beginning. From here in Kourou, the center of our attention is now with our capable colleagues in Toulouse, who will ferry EUTELSAT 172B along the next stage of its journey. My final greetings go to all EUTELSAT colleagues across the globe who tuned in to share this historic launch for our company. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Johan, I think Arnaud de Ronet is in Toulouse. Arnaud, salut. Just tweeted or sent me an SMS that we have received the first telemetry from the satellite, so it seems to be at least in a good shape. As always, a breathtaking event, even in such partly cloudy conditions. I have to admit I did not check the orbital parameters of the International Space Station. It could be that Thomas might have seen the launch. Not sure, but in any case, Thomas, I'm not sure if you are following the live stream video, but nevertheless, in any case, enjoy the last hours up there. It might be absolutely wonderful to see this launch from the ISS. Again, a big thank you to Ariane Group, the Airbus and Safran joint venture. Thank you, Alain. Thank you, Stéphane, for this wonderful and long-expected flight. Thanks also to those at Bill, at BAF, in the CSG premises of CNES, of ESA, who relentlessly and in the back office of the Jupiter Backroom Control Center integrate, test, and manage the launch. A big thank also to our friends of EUTELSAT. Johan here, Rodolphe, I suspect you are somewhere in Paris. Thank you. We are again extremely honored by your renewed confidence and trust in Airbus solutions. It's more than 20 years, I think the first one was in 1996, that we have launched the first Eurostar 2000 Plus base satellite for you guys. And this evening is again a grande première with EUTELSAT 172B. It's full electric propulsion, power flexibility, 3D printed structural components, among other innovations. We're excited to further cooperate, in particular on quantum, which will be another leapfrogging system and probably launch, I don't know, maybe launch from here. Congrats also to our colleagues from ViaSat, Mark and Boeing. Mark and Mark, back from the launch site. We were happy to co-chair the launch this evening with you guys in this Ariane 5 double-decker. And thanks to have waited for a satellite to be released. As a matter of fact, we are not very much used to be in the lower position. We are used to have a bigger satellite and the upper position, but this time with the design of this full electric propulsion, it allowed it to have a rather lightweight, compact, but nevertheless extremely powerful satellite, and that's fitting in the low position. Happy to co-chair with you guys. At this juncture, I would like also to address a very, very warm thank you to my teams at Airbus in various sites. Toulouse, I know you guys are 150, 200 people down there in Toulouse, in Portsmouth, in Stevenage, Backnang, Elancourt, to name a few. And to our partners. It's late over there. It's probably, 2 o'clock in the morning. Rather early in the morning, but in any case, warm congrats for the development of this wonderful and most innovative system. Special thanks also to the various agencies who supported us in this venture, ESA and various space agencies in Europe, especially CNES, the Commissariat Général à l'Investissement, merci Jean-Luc, for your outstanding support via the Programme d'Investissement pour l'Avenir, a real win-win partnership. Enfin, let me wish good luck to our teams in Airbus premises, in Toulouse and EUTELSAT, and at EUTELSAT. Again, passionate people, rarely seen and talked about. Those who will, for the next 15 or maybe 19, 20 years, operate this baby that we just delivered in orbit. They have already started to take care. They will perform the early operation phase. They will follow up with the IoT. And you guys will be working for the next, as I said, 15 years, 365 days a week, a year, 24 hours a day. Over to you. À vous de jouer maintenant. Merci et bonne chance.
Hey, greetings, everybody. You'll have to forgive me if I have a big grin on my face after watching that spectacular launch out from the Toucan Viewing Center. So the very first thing I'd like to do is, on behalf of everybody at ViaSat, all of our employees, our team, our customers and partners, is extend our thanks to Arianespace and to Boeing for a fabulous job. We feel very, very well supported by both. And as has been mentioned, this was a record performance for both companies. For Ariane, the largest mass ever lifted on an Ariane 5. For Boeing, the largest commercial satellite that they'd ever built. I think also, for me personally, I want to thank everybody at ViaSat who has contributed to make this possible, to get us in a position where we can achieve the things that we've done. Everybody, whether you're working on the ground system, on other programs, have contributed to make this day possible. I would like to speak a little bit about what this means for ViaSat, and we think also for the world. ViaSat has been quite successful in the United States with our first ViaSat-1 satellite and with our Wild Blue heritage in providing aeronautical services and also home internet in a way that had never been done by satellite before. But now, with ViaSat-2, we can begin a transition from being a domestic US company primarily to now being a regional company and in transition to being a global company. With ViaSat-2, we'll have about 300 gigabits per second of bandwidth. We'll use that record performance by Ariane and Boeing to create the most powerful communication satellite ever launched. It will enable us to deliver higher speeds, more bandwidth to more users, and to deliver that service into more places than we've ever done before. We'll be able to serve more people at home. We'll be able to extend our coverage across the Atlantic Ocean into South America and into the Caribbean for aeronautical customers, cruise ships, and other applications. Fittingly, with our launch partner, EUTELSAT, who we have a very long and fruitful relationship with, it will enable seamless coverage from Europe at KA-SAT, now across the Atlantic, to North America, all the way at Ka-band with the highest performance possible. We at ViaSat feel we're on a mission. We see this as a very big step forward in that mission, but we think we can make satellite as competitive for broadband services at home as any other terrestrial technology. We know that's an audacious goal. We think that that will be good for ViaSat. It will be good for all of our stakeholders. We think it will be good for the satellite industry to show that that can be done. It will be great for users. To do that, we have a lot of tough technology problems to solve. We've done several of them in ViaSat-2. Not only do we have a very large amount of bandwidth, the most ever, a large coverage area, but for the first time at this scale, we've added measures of flexibility in the performance and our ability to allocate that bandwidth to the places where it's most needed in ways that have never been done before. But we have more technology to do. We have already begun, are well in the middle of our ViaSat-3 program, and very pleased and thankful to be working again with both Boeing and Ariane on the first of our ViaSat-3 satellites. Finally, I'd really like to congratulate EUTELSAT on the success of their mission, Airbus as well on a successful mission. Thanks again to all the people at ViaSat everywhere for the work that you've done. To our launch partners, enjoy today's success. I know I am. And then let's make the most of the opportunity it's created for us. Thank you very much.
Wow. So if everyone here in the audience, who's here for the first time seeing the launch? Raise your hand. Outstanding, outstanding. Beautiful, beautiful launch. So I want to start off with a congratulations also to ViaSat, Arianespace, and Boeing teams for just an incredible activity to get to this point and to launch today. Just a beautiful, beautiful launch. Want to extend congratulations also to EUTELSAT and Airbus co-passengers. This was a big one. This is a big one for us all. So congratulations to you also. It's good to be back here, Stefan, launching on Ariane in French Guiana, 54 and counting. And we're looking forward to keep that rolling with Soyuz and Vega as well as Ariane. Boeing and ViaSat first entered into the contract for ViaSat-2 in May of 2013. And though we've worked together on other projects since the early 2000s. ViaSat-2 is the largest commercial satellite that Boeing has built. As Mark had said previously, it'll provide twice the capacity and 7 times the coverage of the ViaSat-1 satellite that's up there. So a significant step forward. When the solar arrays are fully deployed, it'll be the wingspan of a 767 aircraft with solar array power in excess of 18 kilowatts. So quite the size of the satellite and the capability to be able to give the Viasat. As it moves to its final orbital position, Viasat will go through a series of deployments, the solar arrays, the antennas, then undergo in-orbit testing. All of that testing will be done from our Mission Control Center in El Segundo, California, with the combined Boeing Viasat teams. Boeing and Viasat have a great relationship together, and it's continuing as well on Viasat-3. Our teams on Viasat-2 worked side by side in the factory, in design reviews, in project management decisions, and with the launch here at the Guiana Space Center. We are also working, as Mark talked about, on Viasat-3, a satellite with greater than 25 kilowatts of power, all-electric propulsion, and integrating Viasat payload technology. So we, working with Viasat, continue to take those steps forward, advancing technology and advancing what we all feel around the world. We are honored and humbled that Viasat has put their trust in the Boeing company to deliver their next generation satellite, a game changer in the industry that'll connect the world. So thank you again to Viasat, Arianespace, and the entire Boeing satellite team that I know is watching in El Segundo, California, and here, the launch team. Just want to say thank you for your hard work, dedication, and support in accomplishing this beautiful launch tonight. Let's continue to change the world. Thank you.
Après un anglais un peu approximatif, j'ai beaucoup apprécié l'accent anglais de Johan Leroy, qui a un bon degré de compétition.
Johan Leroy's English really did impress me, and I feel that you have given me great support thanks to your intervention earlier on. So I turn now to French as this evening reaches its end. We will be back on the 28th of June here at the CSG in this very same room at Jupiter. And this will be for 2 very significant customers of ours in Marsat. That's a partnership with EUTELSAT, it's H3SIS, and the Indian Space Agency, ISRO, for which we'll be launching GSAT-17. So, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. Enjoy the rest of the evening. And many thanks once again to our customers and partners.
Well, my friends, another incredible Ariane 5 mission has come to an end, and this one, the 79th in a row. It's been my honor to be coming down here to French Guiana 2007 to serve as the host of a number of these broadcasts. Each and every one we enjoy more and more, and we share the excitement with you live from here in French Guiana. And we see that tremendous launch. Again, we say congratulations to everybody involved in VA237, especially the folks in ViaSat and EUTELSAT. And for the world's #1 launch service provider, Arianespace, I'm Harry Thibodeau, bidding you good night from French Guiana.
Bon.
Pardon?
On va la parade.
Allumage et décollage.